So I'm gonna go ahead and make some rocket. Nice. Oh, that was perfect. Fuel, this is 75-15-10 black powder with no dextrin. I'm not gonna put any dextrin in it. Probably 2-3 pounds here. I can go ahead and press this in my rockets, but it's extremely messy and I end up with black everywhere. If you look at this, it's just messy. So if I can at least granulate it, but if I granulate it with dextrin, it doesn't work well with rockets. So ooh, that didn't work. Now if you look at these, I've already pressed up some 1 pound. This is a 1 pound rocket and a 1/2 pound. I want to see how much they weigh. So 1 pound of this stuff could make 10 of these. And this has got to be double at least, probably more. Wow, that's kind of nuts, but 1 pound of black powder would only make 4 of these. 4, 12, 16, 4 pounds minus this, probably 3 pounds of black powder. Important to point out that this is dextrin-free black powder in making the rockets. So the bowl's actually a little heavier than I thought. This right here is 2.7, so almost 3 pounds of black powder. I'll go ahead and granulate it. We'll start adding the water and isopropyl. Yes, this is probably even less, maybe like 8% isopropyl to 92% water. Over time, I've come to realize that I prefer less isopropyl alcohol. It takes longer to dry, but 367 grams. And as I mentioned, this is almost 3 pounds. Well, let's call it 120 or 1,251 grams or 2.758 pounds. We'll figure out the end to see how much I used. I'm gonna add it off camera, but I'll probably dump almost half of this straight in here and start mixing that crazy. I'm gonna do it off camera because it's really hard to do on camera with one hand. So I went ahead and just dumped half right off the bat. I find I'd rather use less just because if I use too much, then it's a milky mess and I have to add more. So I'd rather do less at first and then slowly titrate and add too. So I'll go ahead and mix it. And it's not even close. So I'll go ahead and dump, not the rest, I'll probably take it down another 1/4 to 1/2. So I went ahead and kneaded it, and if you look at it, it's still not quite what I want it to be. It's still very powdery. Get pieces like this right here, but then it just crumbles in your hand. I'll get it to where it's just below shiny. So if you look at that right there, that's too runny. But I haven't mixed it. I just wanted to show what it looks like when it's too runny. See how it smears on my glove? So I'm going to keep on kneading that. There's a lot of dry stuff in there as well. I just want to point that out. I'm going to go ahead and mix it. If you look at that. Squeeze it real tight, and it's still not quite shiny. It's matte. And I can split it. It's still kind of matte. I may add a tiny bit more moisture, but it's actually pretty close. And I've used pretty much all of this. I'll use whatever's left, I guess. So I dump the rest in, and let's see, the weight of this thing right here is 32 grams, so I can subtract that from the overall to see how much moisture I put in there. It's pretty much where I want it to be, and if you look at the bag, it's still dry. If you smash it down and then look in here, it does have a slight shine to it. You can squeeze it. It'll keep its form. slight shine, and you can easily split it. That's perfect right there. So I'll go ahead and go to the next step. So I'll take a whiteboard. Seems to work really well. If you do it on paper, then it actually soaks up some of the potassium nitrate for the mixture and make it less impressive, less volatile. So we'll go ahead and knead it onto this whiteboard. So I'll go ahead and put it through this screen. Screen size in this case doesn't matter because it's going to mash down in the rocket and squish out. In some ways, the finer the better. That way, storage-wise, it's a bit better. But that's the screen I'm using. Got this and a big ball. I'll take it and separate into 4 balls. The nice thing about this bag is it maintains the moisture so I can close it up. The isopropyl alcohol leaves the mixture very quick, so I get the moisture content I want and then I keep it sealed. So let's make 4 balls. So that's what it looks like outside of the bag. Again, I'll smash this into 4 balls. So I've got 4 balls now. I'll put it back into the bag and I'll press them through one at a time. So I put 3 of the 4 in, took the screen, flip it upside down, take this, and then I'll go ahead and just press it through the screen. So I press that through and that's what it looks like so far. The cool thing about this is if I don't like that, I can smash it back up and put it into a different screen, or I can, to make it more fine, which I actually might do. That's may not be fine enough. I'm going to put it through another screen because that's a little bit thick for my liking. It's also a little bit runny, I'd say. So I can let it sit like that for a bit, dry, smash it back up, and put it through a finer screen. So I went ahead and pressed that through. I'll spread it out slightly. Again, it's a bit too wet, so I'll let it dry. I'll smash it up again into 4 balls and put it through a finer screen. The higher concentration of isopropyl alcohol, the quicker, I should say, the less time it'll take for it to evaporate off. I like to put a little extra water in. Gives you a longer working time. If you look at that right there, the streaks, I mean, it is a little bit too wet, so I'll let that sit for a bit. So again, a bit too much moisture. I'm gonna just put that in the sun, let it dry out a little bit, and then I'll make 4 more balls and knead it down again and put it through a finer screen. So I only left it out there for a couple minutes, but if you look at this right here, that isopropyl alcohol burns off pretty quick. I should say it evaporates pretty quick. So let's knead it again and put it through another screen. So if you look at that, less streak, just as a test, I'm going to go like that. So that's looking pretty good right there. I don't have that streak anymore. A lot of this will be somewhat of a dust, but it's way better than that air float crap. It'll be much easier to make rockets. So I'll go ahead and knead all of it through. So we'll take that and let's knead it through. So I went ahead and pressed all that through. I'll spread it out just so that the weight of it doesn't compress and make it semi-solid. Okay, now we'll let it set, probably 10 minutes or so. And this is why I use such a big board. If you look at that, all the waste There's actually quite a bit. I'll sweep it up at the end and put it in my junk trash bin. But the bigger the board is, the less waste you'll have, especially on these big batches. But the key is to not, I'm not looking to get these perfect little FFA or FFFA or whatever. I just don't like to pack this stuff into a rocket with no dextrin, of course, when it is just loose crap, because it is so messy. In a pinch you can do it, but boy is it messy. In a pinch, I did it the other day, but I hated doing it. So the key is to not use dextrin in this though. And I'll show you how it burns, and I'll show you how solid it is, or lack thereof. And I'll show you what happens if you do use dextrin. You'll have a cato, which took me about 10 rockets to realize what was going on. And that was my issues. I had dextrin in the mixture, which is a no-go. So again, this is just black powder for my rockets, although you could do something like this for muzzle loaders and cannons as well. It just wouldn't be, it would be kind of, what's the word? It wouldn't be as coarse as at the end. It would be very fragile. But the upside is there's no dextrin, meaning it's more powerful. If you have, let's say, 10% dextrin, which is way more than you need, of course, but 10% dextrin would dilute your mixture and therefore dilute the power of it. So if you look at that, that's about perfect. So I let it dry for a couple hours probably. If you look at that, as is, it's actually pretty darn close, but let's go like this. That is a crap ton. So I put it all into the bucket. I think, although hardly needed, I may do one more step. I'm going to put all of this back through here, and most of it we'll just go right through. Maybe we can shake it up. Yeah, 5 the big pieces. And it's still so soft because lack of dextrin that I can just do that. And it's still surprising how it does have some hardness to it. Now it should go down the funnel just fine when I'm making my rockets. Also look at my hand, it's putting minimal to no black all over my hand. Now if you look at that, you're going to have a variety. Of FFFA, 7FA, all the way down to, most of it's going to be kind of this perfect size. It'll go through the funnel that I use. So, and look at my hand. If I were to do that with my mash black powder, my hand would just be black. Stuff's so messy to work with. So, ready to make rockets. This is what, 2 pounds, almost 3 pounds. So, I'd be able to make a lot of rockets off of that. Now this is all stuff that I kind of beat off of this. I'll go ahead and just throw that in here, but maybe I'll do a quick burn test just to make sure it burns well. So there we have it. Just going to do a quick burn test because every time I make anything I do a burn test. It's pretty important. I don't want to screw something up and have a whole crap ton of stuff that I put 20 hours into making something only to realize the issue is the garbage, black powder or whatever. So it should burn well though. And again, this is no dextrin. If you look at this stuff right here, no dextrin, so that means it's very easy for me to smash that into fine dust, which will work perfect for my rockets. And that worked really well. That actually burned better than I thought it would. So this is 75-15-10. This will be my hot rockets, nozzleless. You put this in a nozzled rocket, good chance you have a Cato, which is basically a boomy on a stick. Ooh, that didn't work. If you're going to put a nozzle, then it's important to not do 75-15-10, but more so a higher concentration of, charcoal. Or you can use a higher grit rather than air float. So, and now, got 2.5 pounds of it. Right there.